This is SportsMap All-Night with Bill Schmidt on the SportsMap Radio Network.
Presented by Rocket Mortgage.
Live from the O'Reilly Auto Parts Studios, here's Bill Schmidt.
Hitting up the Progressive Guest Hotline here on SportsMap All Night next. Progressive making it easy to bundle your home and car insurance. Get your quote at Progressive.com today. I'm Bill Schmidt, and on the line right now is Jake Asman, now of the Wheelhouse. Heard Afternoon Drive, ESPN 97.5 in Houston. But everybody here on SportsMap Radio knows these beautiful, silky, smooth pipes talking New York Jets football, amongst other pro football stories, via the Jake Asman Show, which you will still hear Saturdays here on SportsMap Radio. Jake, first of all, man, congratulations. I was glad that you were able to hang out with us here tonight, man. I'm so pumped for you, Andrew, and everybody else involved, Cody Stutes as well, to take on Afternoon Drive in the city of Houston. So fire up the Deshaun to New York conversation, right?
Well, thank you, but I really appreciate that, man. And, anytime you need me, I'm always coming on with you. But it's funny you mentioned the Deshaun to New York conversation. Look, you know where my head's at, Bill. Anytime you need me, I'm ready. But you mentioned Deshaun to New York. Before the legal stuff, I was all in on that. I'm like, the Jets have, 2 first-round picks each of the next 2 seasons. If it took 4 ones, I have to think about it because I've watched Deshaun Watson up close for 3 years living in Houston, and I know how damn good he is at football. So, that was certainly, a topic of conversation for a long time. And then obviously, the legal stuff put that to bed, and the Jets go with Zach Wilson in the draft, and now time will tell if he's any good. I mean, we'll find out over the next couple of years.
So we've been going around the AFC East earlier on this week, Jake, and I think it's fascinating to how quickly the division has just basically flipped to the other team, or the only team, I should say, in actually the state of New York, with Buffalo just seemingly taking over the hierarchy, and everybody is presumably playing for second place. I don't know that it's that surefire. Now, even though I'm not going to go as far as the guy that just put $2K down on the Jets to win the AFC, I do believe it's a little bit more of a competitive division than it even was a year ago, with New England getting better, getting healthy, and not having Cam Newton with COVID after week 3. Miami better, and I think the Jets are better, seemingly, simply, just, Jake, you know this, the coaching has to add at least 2 wins, you would imagine, right?
No doubt. I mean, look, the bar for the Jets, they could triple their win total, and that'd be just winning 6 games, right? So you're talking about a team that was one of the worst in the NFL last year. Honestly, I know they finished with the second worst record. To me, they were worse than the Jaguars, who had the first pick. The Jets' point differential was worse than Jacksonville's. Jacksonville just found a way to lose, one less game, or one more game, I should say, than the Jets. So I definitely think the Jets are an improved team. I agree with you. I think New England got better. I think the Dolphins, depending on what Tua is, you would expect him to be better now going into his second season. So while I do agree, I think the Bills are still the best team right now in the AFC East. I think they're still, all right, you did it for 1 year winning that division. Like, show us again that you're legit. Like, New England did it year after year after year. Buffalo's done it once. It's hard to repeat as a division winner in the NFL, and we'll see if they can do it again.
Jake Asman joining us here, formerly of the Jake Asman Show, now the Wheelhouse, ESPN 97.5. We'll talk a couple of Houston questions. Don't you worry. I'm going to test that knowledge right out of the gates, Jake Asman, as we flip it on back over to Afternoon Drive. But let's stay with Robert Saleh. I'm a huge fan of his energy in just the way that he attacks the game in his job. As a coach in the National Football League, Jake, you got to be able to inspire rich 25-year-old guys, and he feels like he brings that kind of confidence and swag to the building. What are the first impressions of Jets fans, who seem to be a very impressionable fan base, and that they'll get fired up as quickly as anybody because they're just that starved for a winner?
No doubt. And, you talk about going from, 2 opposite ends of the spectrum here, going from Adam Gase to Robert Saleh. It has just been a breath of fresh air for every Jet fan. I mean, what makes Saleh so compelling is that he's an unbelievable storyteller. You could just tell the way he talks. Like, some guys, say they want to be a good leader, but Robert Saleh actually, exemplifies, what leaders do and leadership qualities. Just the way he's dealt with the New York media. It's been funny to watch, all these, angry, Jet beat reporters that are expecting the worst because they've been covering the team for so long, have to deal with a guy that's so positive and, has such a bright message for the team. And it's a funny dynamic given, where the team has been the last couple of years when Adam Gase was coaching them, right? So early impressions have been strong, but at the same time, they got to win games, and time will tell. But he's still certainly in the honeymoon period. I think Jet fans have rallied around the fact that, Robert Saleh's trademark slogan, Bill, is all gas, no break. So a lot of Jet fans fired up about that mentality, that attitude change that was certainly needed after this, this previous regime. So, there's a lot of optimism surrounding this team. But you and I know this, as well as anyone. Ultimately, if the head coach and the quarterback, if you don't get those two, parts right on your football team, you're not going to win games. So the Jets think they have the right head coach in Saleh, and they also obviously think they have the right quarterback in Zach Wilson, and time will tell on both.
Oh, man, there are going to be a lot of Jets fans tattooing all gas, no break. I can already feel that being a mantra that sticks. T-shirts and tats, that's for sure going to work, Jake Asman. What about that Zach Wilson piece, man? I know the fear was coming out from certain Pro Football Talk writers about him throwing a couple of picks and not necessarily looking great in a scrimmage at MetLife. How did you react? I didn't love it necessarily. Not my decision, maybe not even his decision. I thought it was some bad advice, Jake, to have him be sitting out the first couple of days of practice. I don't care how much money it ends up being, but right now, the first couple of weeks of Zach Wilson finally in Jets camp, what are the prevailing sentiments?
Yeah, obviously not being there, just, reading the same reports that everyone else is reading, it seems like he's been up and down, which is what you expect from a rookie quarterback. It seems like he has really good chemistry early on with Elijah Moore, which should excite every Jet fan because I think Elijah Moore, might end up being one of the steals of the draft. The fact that he even lasted to 34th overall, second pick of the second round was stunning to me. But I'm glad he was there because it looks like he's already going to be the Jets, best playmaker, as a rookie. But as far as Wilson, I mean, look, he's a rookie quarterback. There's going to be growing pains, right? Success is not always linear, is what I've been saying on my show a lot. So, there's going to be moments where you go, wow, this kid looks unbelievable. And there's going to be other moments where he's going to throw a bad interception or he's going to fumble the ball or make a bad decision. It's going to happen. That's part of, the growing pains here. You can't expect this kid to come in and be Justin Herbert year one. But at the same time, if you look at Justin Herbert's rookie year, there were some games where he also didn't play that well. So I think, obviously, it's New York. It's the biggest media market. Fans are going to expect Wilson to be great right away. That's just how the New York fan is. They want instant gratification in the world we live in. But I encourage every Jet fan just to be patient because you could see the flashes of greatness are there, the skill set, the different arm angles that he could throw from off platform, the athleticism. You could see why the Jets like him so much. And more importantly, I think he's got the right mentality and the right personality to handle playing in New York, right? I thought he had a really good answer earlier today when he was asked about, using practice to kind of figure out what things you can get away with, and what things you can, right? Make your mistakes in practice, not during the game. Like he just seems like he's got a good head on his shoulders. And, I know there's been people that have tried to make a Johnny Manziel comparison. I think that's just nonsense. I think he's done a nice job so far. And obviously he's going to need to, get some reps this preseason and get closer to being the guy from week one.
Well, he made me a lot of money over at BYU. I know people don't want to hear about that, but I'll be honest with you, Jake. I loved watching him play last year. I think that arm strength and a little bit of the screw it mentality that you kind of have to have at the quarterback spot to let it rip in certain offenses. He's going to be in an offense that's going to allow him to take a couple of shots, and they're going to be rather well set up, right? That's what the LaFleur-Shanahan offense kind of does. It sets up those deep shots off of play action to give you some chances to push the ball down the field. I personally thought their best draft pick and potentially most important one, I know this isn't going to surprise you from the 300-pounder, Jake Asman, but I thought Elijah Vera-Tucker was just such a steal to be able to get an anchor in on one side of the offensive line, whether it's to protect Wilson or to aid him with a legit run game. you have one of the better and potentially most dominant sides of a line with Vera Tucker and Mekhi Becton that you could have, my goodness, in that league and in that division. You got to run the football to win games, and I think that's going to really help them in that department.
I totally agree, Bill. I mean, if you look at the Jets draft, I mean, there's a lot of reasons to be really excited about. Obviously, you take a quarterback at number 2, the fan base is going to go nuts over the potential there. But, trading up, using the Jamal Adams pick that you got from Seattle to package that with a third rounder you had, to move up to get arguably the best guard in the entire draft, a guy that everyone will say is like a can't-miss prospect in Vera Tucker, to put him next to Mekhi Becton, as you alluded to, to have those two guys now locked up on your line, protecting this rookie quarterback. I mean, I'm sure Sam Darnold saw that, and he's like, you kidding me? Like, you guys are doing this now? Where was this the last 3 years when I was the quarterback? So, it just seems like that's a big thing, right? Obviously, Joe Douglas got here, at the right before the 2019 season. So this was only his second off season with the team. So we're now starting to finally get, Joe Douglas's imprint all over the team, right? Sam Darnold wasn't his pick, So Douglas now got his quarterback. He hired his head coach, and you could see, they are staying true to their word of like building in the trenches, right? Like drafting and signing good offensive linemen. Like they also signed Morgan Moses in June, who is a Pro Bowl caliber right tackle. So you look at this offensive line, and you got 3 guys that you could point to and say, yeah, those are 3 really good players that are going to be protecting this young rookie quarterback. So I'm with you. I think the Vera Tucker pick was awesome, and I can't wait to see him play, left guard for this team going forward.
It's at Jake Asman via Twitter, at Jake Asman. That's ASMAN. No 2 S's, because otherwise we wouldn't be able to say it via FCC violation. So, Jake, are your Yankees going to squeeze into one of these playoff spots?
Man, I'll tell you what, if you asked me this like a week and a half ago, I would have said no, but they're playing good baseball right now. They continue to win series. I think I believe, though, since July 4th, they might actually have the best record in the game. It's amazing that they continue to win, because if you've looked at their team right now and you just take the Yankees injured list team against their active team and you say which team wins in a 7-game series, the team that's on the injured list, I think, wins in 4 or 5 games. I mean, the starting rotation of guys hurt for the Yankees right now that would pitch against the active Yankees is like Garrett Cole, Corey Kluber, Luis Severino, Jordan Montgomery, and Domingo Germán. Like that team, the Yankees IL team, I mean, it's stacked. It's unbelievable. Yet they keep finding ways, to win some games here. And I believe they're 2 out of the second wild card spot. We know the Red Sox have been reeling. So, you got 4 teams for 2 spots, because the A's have been good. And, don't look out, Houston, because, the A's maybe are going to make a run for the AL West. But I do think push comes to shove, the Yankees get healthy, they'll at least get one of the 2 wild card spots. But it's going to be tough. You got Toronto, you got the Red Sox, you got the A's. It's not going to be easy.
It's the Wheelhouse. It's Afternoon Drive, ESPN 97.5 for our Houston listeners, as well as anybody that wants to find Jake Asman's new show. Just go follow him via Twitter, at Jake Asman. So, Jake, which Houston sport are you most fired up? Which Houston team are you most excited to start following and talking about on a daily basis?
People are probably going to think, oh, it's got to be the Astros because they're in first place and they're really good. Or the Rockets, they have Jalen Green. It's definitely not going to be the Texans, a team that everyone thinks is going to have the worst record in the league. But, for me, Bill, it is the Texans. Football is by far and away my favorite sport. And even though the Texans, of course, are not expected to be this great team, you're talking about a team that still has Deshaun Watson on it. What are they going to do with that situation? There's new information seemingly coming out every week there. And then you also factor in, just like the first-year head coach and David Culley and Nick Caserio, first-time general manager. And, the fact of the matter is this: if they're really bad, they're going to be thinking at the top of the draft, trade Deshaun Watson, and guess what? They're probably going to have to take another quarterback at the top of the draft, which is always good for sports talk radio. So the Texans are fascinating, man. They might not be very good, but I'll tell you what, this offseason, they might be the most interesting team in the NFL.
Hey, it's great when your team takes a quarterback at the top of the draft, or when they trade up a 4th-round pick to go and take one at 26 with the MVP. That's also great for sports talk radio, Jake. Appreciate it, man. I'm really excited for you guys. I'm fired up to listen to it, and really, really excited for you guys being able to get into the Houston scene, and most importantly, jealous of Houston listeners, because that's going to be a great show. The Wheelhouse starts on Monday. Kill it, dude. Thanks for hanging out with us, man.
Bill, you're the man. Thanks so much, brother. Appreciate it.
It's Jake Asman once again, guys. The Jake Asman Show you will still be able to hear Saturdays here on SportsMap Radio. No longer weekday mornings. I got the latest on that coming up next, who you can anticipate and look forward to hearing on Monday as Jake flips it over to the Wheelhouse, ESPN 97.5 in Houston. That's Jake Asman hanging out with us here on SportsMap All Night.